Reba had been found in the middle of the road with a pretty intense injury to the face, which after taking the dog to Iowa State, the person who found her took her to Iowa State to determine that she had indeed been shot in the face by a shotgun. It took the bottom of her jaw, blasted it to the side. Iowa State did some reconstructive surgery the best they could at that time. The jaw itself is 3/4 of the way solid. There's a gap where there's no bone, and then it continues again.
Oh my dog. Dog. Oh my dog.
Oh my dog, hey!
Oh my dog, hello.
It's Kara.
It's Holly.
We're here again.
We're back.
Enough of you listened that we thought, let's do it again.
I would have done it anyway.
I know. We had so much fun doing this. We love to get together and talk about our dog adventures. And so the fact that a few of you want to listen is pretty cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
We had a great time. This is fun.
It is fun.
We'll keep doing it till it's not fun.
That's right.
Like everything else.
Yeah.
What's happened in the last 2 weeks? Tell us.
Oh, well, we've had, rescue has its ups and downs, right? We're
Ebbs and flows.
We're always having some sort of fun, but sometimes the fun is lighter. Last week was probably a lighter fun. We'll talk about why here. I'm going to just run down. Since the last episode aired, we have taken in 19 more dogs. That includes 5 puppies that were born on Friday.
Natasha's a grandma.
Yeah, Natasha, our foster, is a grandmother now. She has 5 little Australian Shepherd puppies. They're easy right now, and she doesn't need to know it's going to get worse, but it is.
This is her first. Glad we got her on this one.
Yeah, Mama right now is cleaning up after the puppies. The fun dips down when she stops, and the poop is everywhere, so she's got that coming out for her. But that dog...
Send potty pads.
Oh, yeah.
They're on our Amazon wish list.
Potty pads, puppy pads.
See?
So helpful. But that was 3 of the dogs that came from an Amish area of the state where, unfortunately, there's a lot of dog breeding happening and a lot of stray dogs. There is an individual there who had taken in a few dogs and got kind of overwhelmed and asked for help because she woke up one morning right before a horrible thunderstorm to a black lab tied to a tree out in front of her house because people knew that she was taking in these stray dogs. And then the other one was pregnant mama. Pregnant mama's name is Delilah, who did have puppies just a few days after she landed with us. So thank goodness she was here and safe to have the babies.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one was Reba. Reba had been found in the middle of the road with a pretty intense injury to the face, which after taking the dog to Iowa State, the person who found her took her to Iowa State to determine that she had indeed been shot in the face by a shotgun. It took the bottom of her jaw, blasted it to the side. Iowa State did some reconstructive surgery the best they could at that time. The jaw itself is 3/4 of the way solid. There's a gap where there's no bone, and then it continues again. So it's a little unstable, but for now, she's stable enough to find her a new home.
Adorable.
Oh, gosh, she's cute. She's like a shepherd mix, and when she looks at you, her little cockeyed mouth and her tongue hangs out because, there's teeth missing when you get shot in the face. Jeez Louise. So anyway, she's precious. She's just she's a floof. She's probably 50 pounds-ish, perfect size, and a wonderful companion. She's ready to find a home.
And the one that was tied up to the tree, what did we name him?
Dwight.
He had 59 ticks on him.
That she pulled off.
Off.
Reba had a lot of ticks too. I mean, they're bad. We talked about that last episode. It's so disgusting. I can't even think about it. But oh, bless Natasha. She picked off 57 ticks by hand.
So we're doing Lyme tests.
Yeah, Lyme test. Everybody's Reba does have Lyme disease, which we are treating the effects of that with some antibiotics. I think she'll be fine. We don't see any other symptoms coming from that, but she does.
Lyme disease is treatable.
It is. So she's going to be okay. She's sweet. I want Holly to talk about the next dog that came in, which is we named Padlock.
Oh, yeah.
Why'd we name him Padlock?
So I got a call from a wonderful woman in the Des Moines area. She had seen this dog on, I think it was Craigslist or Facebook or something like that, free to a good home. And she sent me the picture, and it's this yellow lab mix in a dirt lot. I mean, there's no grass to be seen anywhere. Junkyard dog on a chain. But it has this padlock around its neck.
Because it doesn't have a collar.
You know it doesn't have a collar, that it's just the chain around its neck and padlocked. And I'm
Heavy.
And there's somebody standing there, holding the
it.
dog, which his face wasn't in the picture. Lucky him.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so we immediately said, yes, of course, we can help. This lady was just trying to do a good deed. She hadn't done this before. She wasn't sure where to turn. She's actually a friend of the woman that adopted Lucy.
Beautiful. Okay.
And so that's how she got our information. And
we said, we'll figure it out because there was no way we're going to walk away from Padlock.
No. So he is with a first-time foster, Amy. She's been wonderful. And he saw the vet today.
Yeah, he got the
neutered.
little dingleberries. Got rid of them. Yeah.
And he's doing great. So he's adjusting well. And
so he's living with a couple of very dog-friendly cats. I'm going to talk very quickly about when people ask me, is this dog okay with cats?
Right.
What's the real question?
Is your cat good with dogs?
Because if your cat's going to run away from a dog, my Chihuahua is going to run after the cat if the cat runs away. But if the cat just sits there, the dog's going to sniff it and get over his situation, right?
We always say the only cats that get chased are the cats that run.
Yep.
So
Like true. I mean, there are some dogs that do have a prey drive.
Of
and there's
course,
that.
yes.
But for the most part. So anyway, this lab who's been tied up in essentially a junkyard situation walks in, and there's these two cats. One of them just sat there and literally raised its hand hey. And we've got some really cute videos. I'll post those on our Instagram of the dog just gently playing with this cat. Very cute. So
very cute.
then
How about those puggies?
Yes. Well, so I'm pug lady. Yesterday
I was a sucker for pugs.
Oh my gosh, that voice. And these two are so smooshy. So really sad situation. We had a mama that has 5 kids, I believe, at home, and her husband trying to care for the 5 kids, 2 dogs, while mom is in the hospital after an organ transplant. And it's been kind of a long haul. And finally, they had to make the choice to cut down on dad's load at home and let the dogs go. It was rough. I've been talking to the mother-in-law and to the husband, and it was a tough choice. The dogs are very well taken care of, and they're going to go together as a set because that's what mom had asked. And I said, once I met him, I'm like, sure.
Yeah, we don't normally do that.
No, we don't. Bonded pairs can usually be split up, especially if they're siblings. We never adopt out siblings together. That's another education coming later.
Yep.
But these two are not siblings, and they do seem to like each other. And I promised mama, who's having a hard time, that I would keep them together. And luckily, I have some really great options. So I'm looking through all those applications now, and I think they'll be in their new home very soon. So we also have had, when I talk about our dip in the week, I bet we had, 10 surrenders that reached out saying, yes, I'm desperate. I need you to help me with my dog. So we jump into action. We find a foster. We even get them vet appointments. We're ready to roll. Go to pick up the dog or prepare to go pick up the dog. And they're like, oh, never mind.
Change my mind.
Can't
do it.
I'm going to keep it. Or I'm going to give it to my mom. Or I'm going to give it to my neighbor.
And let's just talk about that for a second, because I don't think a lot of people understand the amount of work that happens in the background when you kick off a surrender like that. We're posting in our Mutt Mafia volunteer group. Can anybody take this dog in? We're trying to answer questions best we can. Like, is it good with cats?
Everybody asks.
Good with kids, that kind of thing. We're communicating back and forth. There's usually a third party involved. And so you're communicating through them to get to the owner. And then there's, like you said, the setting up vet appointments, those phone calls. And, we all have lives too.
Yeah.
And so, we're always happy when a dog can stay in its home with its owner.
If it's the best situation.
If it's the best fit. If it's a good situation.
Yeah.
But please, if you are in a situation where you need to surrender a dog, or you know someone that needs to surrender a dog, if you're reaching out to us because your friend needs to surrender their dog, please make sure that they're ready to actually surrender the dog before we kick off that entire process, because it's taking up time and resources that could be dedicated to a dog that's on a use list.
Really needs help.
a dog that was euthless this morning, and we had to pass on it because we're full.
And we had a spot saved for your
And we had a
dog
spot
that you
saved for your
told us
dog, and now,
was really
unfortunately,
So that it's been a wasted time week. I bet we wasted 20 hours
At
this
least,
week on stuff like that, which again, if the dogs are staying in great homes, fine, it is what it is. But I probably didn't save a half a dozen dogs that we could have because of that. So we've added some verbiage to our intake form, and hopefully people will remember how to read and can do that. So so speaking of which, the next ones that came in since we talked last were 3 Shih Tzu weenie dogs. I don't even know what that combo is called. Shiweenie?
Winzu.
All I know is they were the cutest things that have ever popped out of a sedan. And they came into my driveway, and I already had a little bit gate set up because I knew the puppies were coming. We plopped them in that gate, and I'm like, get these things out of my house. It's unsafe. They're so cute. How
old are they?
They were, I believe, only 8 weeks old. They're little babies. One of them has already gone home to its forever home. The other one, we are contacting applicants, which, another thing, several of these applicants, when we reach out to them, no response.
No response. Or they're like,
oh, I changed my mind.
and they just applied like an hour ago.
We respond as fast as we humanly can. We are so fast. There's no way that you filled out that whole application and then your entire life turned around. I mean, my goodness. So this last one, we're having a hard time, but we're reaching out to all the applicants that are left because the one went already to the home and we had a handful of applicants for both. And then the third one, I said I would foster the third one. Okay. I'm laying in bed, 10 o'clock at night or whatever. Obviously, it's always 10 o'clock at night. I get an email from the person who surrendered the dogs saying, whoopsie doodle. I didn't mean to give you that puppy.
How does that happen?
What do you mean?
And that's not the first time that's happened.
No, they filled out the surrender form for 3 puppies. 3 puppies arrived. I intake all of them. I got vet appointments for everybody. Like, whoopsie doodle.
It just blows my mind.
I was supposed to give that dog to my daughter. So I wrote back and said, tough luck. Like, I'm not going to return this dog, in an anger state. I'm like, forget it. We're going to keep it. It'll be fine. You already filled out the thing. She was like, okay. Then 7:30 a.m., my phone rings that next morning. It's the daughter calling, and she actually was lovely. And we had a conversation, and I was half awake, so I was probably not fully coherent. But she and I agreed that we would return the dog back with a contract that she agreed to spay the dog or neuter the dog, get vaccines, and then send that proof back to us, just so we know that it's going to be safe. That's the best we could do in that situation.
Yeah, a lot of people can go a lot of different ways on that deal, and it really comes down to the dog is always our top priority. We just want to make sure the dog is safe and well cared for, and not saying that person wouldn't, but we had to do it. But also, this is a little sketch.
It was really weird, and I said that I'm like, this is making me uncomfortable, but I'll do what I can to do the right thing for you guys and for the dog. But how in the world does your mother not know that you wanted this dog?
Like, how many dogs do you have that you lost track?
I don't know. So hopefully that dog's gonna be okay. I do have a contract with that person, and so we'll hope the best. But again, another wasted chunk of my time. I got the dog posted everywhere that night. Got the pictures edited, all the things, and then never mind. And then lastly, there's a few more probably in there, but one other one, a little shish poo. Mama went to a nursing home, and we see that often. You get older and you can't take your dog with you and you have to go in a nursing home. And so the family reached out, and we're always happy to help, if that's the situation. For sure. And they can't handle it. So
I'm going to sneak my dog into the nursing home.
Well, we're going to just get a compound and get old together. The Golden Girls. We have a whole plan. We will have a lanai. I'll take care of the plants.
What are you going to do if you never get married again? I've got a plan for that.
Yeah. I mean, I married an older man ever so slightly so that my, end years will be alone with my girlfriends. That's my real plan.
And they'll be golden.
And they're going to be really great.
Tell me about the Norwalk dude.
Yes, we have an update. Last time we talked about that Norwalk group of dogs that was picked up, and we had a little bit of a connection to that because we took 10 initial dogs from them. So while the ARL pulled 57 dogs out of the house, We took their initial 10, did a little PI work, figured out who they were. Well, they announced who they were on the news, confirming what we had researched. Michelle, who was the female owner of the dogs, I don't know why the husband didn't get jailed, but whatever. That's weird to me that it was just one of them. I suppose they had to pick one person. I don't know how that worked, but
I thought she got the $300 bond.
well, she was the only one that was taken to jail, though. And so she had a $300 bond. She got bonded out.
Which is ridiculous, by the
Outrageous.
way.
So she's out of jail right now, and she's due back in court on May 8th.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully next time we'll have an update about if charges were actually, are going to stick. She was charged with animal neglect, and is that 57 counts plus the dead dog counts of animal neglect? Is that the neglect including the dogs that we took? I don't know. We're going to find more information out as we can dig into it. We'll get on Iowa courts and do our PI thing and get a little more information. But the news on that was that they did announce the names and that she was taken to jail and then bailed out for $300.
And we talk about this a lot, about the legal stuff that comes out of these cases or doesn't come out of these cases. And, you run through the comments on Facebook and are like, oh, this person should rot in jail, or they should have to live in the same conditions that they put those dogs in. But I wonder what is an appropriate punishment for that. I mean, is it by the number of dogs? Is it, do they need to go to jail for, a certain period of time per dog, or how terrible? I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is.
It's more.
But they cannot, at a minimum, they cannot own an animal ever again, I would think, right?
This is
and how do you track that?
This is a thing I've talked about. So we know we've got the sex offender registry. There should be an animal abuser registry out there that is sent out to all rescue leagues, shelters, everything, rescue groups. It can be shared with breeders, for all I care, that are doing responsible breeding, to say, hey, probably don't send your unfixed dog home with this person, whether or not they care, because, bottom dollar. But,
well, I think that's a great idea. I mean, it's preventative.
And how do we regulate that? It would have to be something that would be national. But even if it was just the state, of Iowa,
you got to start somewhere.
Seriously, I think that would be something that I would be willing to go to bat for. We just got to know. And it's really difficult. We try to do our best when we send a dog home with somebody to research, but you just never know.
And there's so many circumstances that come into this, like the Perry 7, which we're going to talk about next. People get into these situations for so many different reasons. I mean, some of them are deliberate. I mean, some people are really sick out there, and they're doing it intentionally. Some people, it just gets away from them and they can't find a way out. Some people have mental health issues. Should they all be treated the same? Mm-hmm. So, but on our end of things, we can only, talk about what we see. And when we rolled up to that house in Perry, that was our first, quote, large, unquote.
It was one day after we had taken in our first dog ever at Oh My Dog.
Yeah, we got started in mid-January of 2023, and I think January 15th was when we took these in.
Well, the 15th is when you got Jet, who was our very first Oh My Dog dog.
And then the 16th.
The 16th, we got the call.
So I had been contacted by a Facebook friend, distant friend, and she said her coworker had she was moving and she had some dogs that she needed to surrender. And I said, okay, great. We connected, got her address, set the day, set the time, and I headed over there. My mom and I went in my car. I had a couple kennels. I mean, this is the first time we ever did this. I'm like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And I remember calling you, and it was during the day. And so you were, doing your full-time job.
Right.
I was like, no, you have to be here. You have to come. This is our first one. You got to come. So you and Cam showed up, and I remember waiting at the end of the street and being like, okay, are we ready?
We met at the corner and we rolled up and
when you're going down the street and you have to deliver something or pick something up and you're like, please don't be that one. Please don't be that one. Please don't be that house. It was that house.
I've never seen a house in worse state, I don't think, that someone was living in.
So we come to find out many months later that what had happened is the male in the home had passed away unattended, and so the sheriff has to come out and pronounce the death,
Get the body. Yeah.
and so when he came out and he saw the conditions of the house and the animals, he was like, no, we're condemning this.
It was an unlivable situation for man nor beast, right? Like,
I mean, it was running off a generator.
there was no electricity, no water, I don't think.
And so it pulls at your heartstrings that somebody's living in these conditions, and even more so that there's dogs living in these conditions. And so they wouldn't even let us in the house, which I don't think we could have gotten in. Yeah, I'm thankful for that, honestly. And it took them an hour and a half to bring out 7 dogs.
Well, they couldn't find
them. And when they brought the first one out, I was like, okay, that's pretty bad, but we can handle it. They brought the second one out, like, okay, need a groom, nail trim, ASAP, dental, okay, good. Yeah, like third, fourth, fifth, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What have we got ourselves into?
And I'll try to share in the podcast notes for this episode the links of the videos that we took that night. And I do have some pictures that I'll bundle together on our Instagram that are about what the property looked like. We tried to take pictures from the outside. The inside, from what we could see from the doorway, was much, much worse. And the outside of the property was filled with junk as well.
Yeah. But the most concerning dog out of that was Gonzo. And he was a solid mat. Like it wasn't like you could feel a mat here, feel a mat there. His entire body was a mat.
So putting your arms or hands around him, my hands are about this wide, and putting pressure to pick up a dog, your hands would normally like touch its body, the fur would
feel its ribs or body structure.
It was hard, and it was all matted fur,
like solid.
He couldn't stand, he couldn't walk, he couldn't turn.
And he was kind of a big dog. He was like 20 some pounds.
Yeah, he was kind of chunky. So these were all Shih Tzus, Chihuahuas, or a mix of the two, right? So he was mostly Shih Tzu, but they said that he was the son of the smallest dog. I mean, every time they'd bring a dog out too, this is what was interesting to me, is she would give us the whole background of when that dog was born, what its name was, how much she loved them, everything.
And that's where when I'm talking about, it's like,
do I hate you or do I feel bad for you or what?
Both.
I guess both. But it was crazy. She had a whole story for every single one of them. And that one in particular, which was the biggest one and extra big with all of
18.3 pounds.
Yeah. And it was pounds of hair.
So we had to take him to emergency vet, Blue Pearl, immediately. And he had a sedated groom. So.
Well, actually, I took him to Blue Pearl, and they said that they didn't have clippers that were strong enough to get through the fur at the emergency vet to groom him. So for free, they checked his vitals and make sure he was healthy enough to do a sedated groom. And then I had to go to veterinary specialties, and they were able to sedate and groom him for us. And he was there for a few hours. And in the meantime, so I dropped him off there and I said, hey, I got a car full of stinky other dogs that I've got to take somewhere and get them groomed, without the emergency room bill.
Right.
So can I leave him here?
$110, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, $410.
Number girl.
Yes, she takes care of that, so I don't overspend, I guess. I don't know. But she, in the meantime, the hours long for them to groom, Holly and I split the rest of the dogs up. We have a groomer who still helps us to this day, we have several groomers in our group that volunteer their time, services, expertise to make these dogs feel better, look better, adoptable, all of the things. It's wonderful, but these were so covered in fleas and so dirty and so matted, and it was late.
Right. Quick shout out to Bree, as she runs Clipper Doodle Doo.
Yes.
Heaven Perez.
Yes.
She's in Ankeny. Whitney and Drew Denman, they are in Madrid. And Sarah Muse works at Paw Perfection in Ames.
Yes. And so those
looking for a groomer. They are full. because they're that good. But get on their list.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for always being willing to jump in and help out. I mean, we have way more stories than this. But
oh yeah, there's a really good one coming up where we'll talk about when we had to deploy the troops on the fly.
It was amazing.
The groomers came in key, but in this instance, they did. Haven Perez and I holed up in her apartment because it was late and the grooming salon was closed, and so we set up a table in her apartment. We shaved the dogs, and I was standing close with a garbage bag catching the fur because it was so covered in fleas. I was like, I don't want your house to like get these fleas, you know? So I was trying to like quarantine that as best I could, and she worked magic, and we got a few dogs. Let's see, I don't even remember, 3 or 4 of them groomed really quickly right in her living room.
Yeah. When I took Patsy Cline to Whitney and Drew, her face was completely matted over.
Yeah,
her eyes were like just nasty, wet underneath. Ugh. And her nails were all curled under.
Oh, the nails were like spirals on all these dogs. It was
bad,
really
bad. But anyway, we got them all home and got them in homes, and they all got adopted. Actually, Patsy Cline was our first Rainbow Bridge baby.
Yes.
Her lovely mother, Allison, and Ankeny sent us a message, and that's what kicked off our Rainbow Bridge. Yeah. I can't speak today. Rainbow Bridge page on our website, omdr.org.
Yeah.
Plug.
Yes. Check out our website. Look at the Rainbow page. You'll see Patsy Cline. And then if you look at the 2023 adoptions, the other dogs from that group were Fanta, Grover, Sally, Jesse, Raphael, which, come on, that's why we do this, so we can name dogs like that. Patsy Cline.
Mom named her.
Very cute.
Fall to pieces.
No one's going to hire us for singing. I'm not even going to chime in. It's not good. And then Journey, G.I. Jane, and Gonzo. So, after our last episode, Gonzo's mom... So, actually, I should back up. Gonzo was adopted, and he was a runner. He was a track star. He wanted to be on the go, and he just never settled down in his first home. And it takes some time for these dogs that come out of hoarding situations, that come out of puppy mills, all of those things to settle into a home. Like more time than what we normally imagine for a rescue dog. It just takes a while because they haven't been handled every day. They're feral or they're close to it. So he really didn't work out in his home. There was a lot of kids, a lot of noise. He needed a calmer life. So he was returned one time. Then he was adopted out to the most wonderful people. His name was Gonzo when he was adopted and adopted back out. But now his name is Onion because his brother's name is Pickle.
Let's get him a ketchup and mustard and make it a set.
Gosh darn it. I think I could really build up their condiment tray, you know? Oh, I could get them.
That was good.
Yeah, I mean, they need more. But we love a good food name. So anyway, she says, I just listened to your podcast and love it. Thank you for listening. She said back in September of 2023, we adopted Gonzo. We just love him. We are a family of 4 with a senior dog waiting for him to join us. He loves his adopted brother, who was also a rescue. It took about 4 months before he was happy about morning walks, but now he can't wait to start his day with a walk. And she says, I mean, he will not start the day without it. Again, renamed Onions because his brother is Pickles. So I guess it's plural, onions and pickles. Onions. He's a beefy of a Shih Tzu. He deserves more than one onion. I don't know. She says they're the best of frenemies, which I love. You know, not every dog has to have hearts and rainbows shooting out of it when it meets another dog. It's okay. They can live in the same home. But she says as of today, it's been 2 months since he's had an accident in the house. And that's a huge deal because he spent his entire life literally peeing and pooping everywhere he could because they didn't go outside and they were living in a hoard and he was used to filth.
Right.
So teaching a dog that's coming from that used to filth to a routine of going on a walk and going potty outside, all of those things, it's a big commitment. And
it's just like us getting into a workout routine, which is why I never do that.
I did it one time and now I'm back in my hoard. I don't know. Yeah, and she said, he's still shy with guests, but they're working on it. He's made a deep bond with their youngest daughter, who's 11, and he sleeps with her every night. She also sent a picture, and she says, he's doing great. They love him very much. And people like that who can adopt a dog that has challenges and needs some extra time, and they're in for it, they're in for the long haul. That's where it's at.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for giving them the time.
Yes. She sent a picture of his collar, which has a tag on it, and it says, "Onions, Sir Gonzo, the Great Houdini," and then that he's microchipped because he's going to need it when he runs away.
Yeah, because with his first owner, he ran away.
Immediately.
Yeah, like they got him home. They didn't even get him in the door. Like between the car and the door,
Which
he got away from them.
If you adopt a dog that can be crated from the house to the door, please keep
highly recommend
until you get in the house.
Highly recommend.
But anyway.
But yeah, he got away, and we were on a chase for that dog for hours. I beat feet from Boone down to Altoona.
Yeah.
Courtney met us out there.
Yeah.
And another rescue group met us out there to help us search for it. And it was dark. Just dark, and I finally got my hands on that dog, and I tackled him. I'm sorry. I did not feel bad about that. I will not apologize, but I tackled that dog. So please microchip your pets and use, if you can, air tags are great.
Yep.
The fee collars, fee, fi,
I don't know.
Whatever.
They're FI collars. They actually have a tracking device in them.
Yeah, it runs off of satellites, like cellular.
Yeah,
I got one for Stanley.
Yeah.
And that it alerts you when they leave an area and all that. Anyway.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh, God.
If you have any sort of and so then he ran away a couple more times at his new family, and they caught him again, and is what it is, But good gravy.
What if they made me walk every morning too?
Yeah, what the heck? I like to sleep in.
Oh, let's to our educational piece for the episode.
Yes. So we currently have in our rescue 3 right now, but we've had several over time, black dogs. And we started realizing really early on that black dogs sit quite a bit longer before they receive their first application, before they receive a viable application, before anyone shares their stuff. Mm-hmm. I could post an adorable little Pomeranian, and that dog would get shared 300 times. Mm-hmm. I can post the most beautiful black lab you have ever seen in your life, and it can get 14 shares.
Right.
And, that's not to say that Pomeranians are more popular than labs, right? No, labs were the number 1 dog in the country for years and years until the Frenchie took over, and they're a wonderful breed of dog, but the black ones just take longer. So we have in our rescue just seen that to be true.
Now there is conflicting information on this. So if you fact checked this episode,
you'd find both.
You'd find both schools of thought.
Yeah. So I have found an article that was written at Berkeley that really outlines the plight of the black dog in rescue and shelter scenarios and how long that they'll sit in between. And then also another article from the Spruce Pets, which I'm going to link in this episode just so you can read a little bit more about it. But I had been hearing for a while before we started our rescue that this was a thing. And I thought, is this really a thing? I'm not sure. And our experience has been it's very real. I had, one of the greatest dogs I've ever owned was a black pit bull named Jasper, who was my husband's heart dog. And I got him off of Craigslist. He had been rehomed like 4 times, and he was kind of a hot mess behavior-wise when we got him. But I pulled him because he was an intact male black pit bull, and I knew that was a lot of odds stacked against him for being on Craigslist, and we ended up falling in love with him. Just if you see a rescue post a black dog, or if you are helping us to share our content, please pick out that black dog that we post and just
that like hashtag
black dogs rule. I don't know. Black dog syndrome is such a real thing.
Bust black dog syndrome.
Yeah. Yes.
Something like that.
Let's squash it. It's so ridiculous. There's nothing prettier than in the sunshine, a well-groomed black dog. They're so shiny and pretty. And, we were talking just before this of all of the black dogs that have been in our lives and the lives of others around us that have just been incredible. There's literally nothing different about them except for the color of their fur. And so, you know, as I'm talking about this with people, they're like, you know, is it a racist thing? Well, I mean, I don't know that we want to equate it to like race, but certainly color is something that our eyes, and there's some sort of psychology with walking past a row of kennels or scrolling through a site with a bunch of dogs. Why do you scroll quickly past the black dog and not stop?
Well, it's marketing genius at its finest. I mean, it's a photogenic thing. If you put, it's just like food, you know, plated food.
Yeah.
Versus, you know, what I eat at home, or it's the photo bias of it.
Right.
Because they don't pop out. They're hard to photograph. Coloring and the color and how they photograph. It's nothing about the dog. No. It's not the color specifically. It's just how our brains are wired to percept.
Yes, there's some sort of psychology there in what our eyes are drawn to, you know. So
if you're colorblind, it really doesn't matter. So adopt all the black dogs, please.
Yes, that's true. So we wanted to just talk about currently the 3 black dogs that are in our rescue that have been with us for either a little while or that have come in and have not had a whole lot of interest, and just highlight them. And hopefully you can help us to go on and share their posts from our Facebook page or share our available dog page and call them out.
First, we got Fendi. She is a boxer mix. She came out of a kind of a shitty situation in Ames. She lived in an apartment. When I picked her up, I met the guy not at the apartment complex, because that apartment complex was notorious for...
They'd had gun violence.
Bad behavior. Yeah, they'd had a shooting months before this or something. I'm like, I'll meet you in a public location.
Yeah.
Always highly recommend that to all of our volunteers as well. Anyway, she has little white spots on her feet and white on her chest, but the rest of her is black, and those white areas were yellow. So that's telling me she's stained with urine, which tells me she's been in a crate in her own urine and feces. So started off real strong with that. She did stink like a normal hoard dog.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that like everybody knows what that smells like, but it's...
We call it a windows down situation.
Exactly. And yeah, she had a lot stacked against her, you know. She was not friendly with males.
Right.
She had obviously been mistreated by a male, and she had obviously been mistreated going through doorways. She had a real issue with barriers or thresholds, things like that. So, but a wonderful brand new foster, Jen, stepped in to foster her and did a wonderful job with her, getting her to come out of her shell and working with her.
A lot of time with her.
Yeah. A lot of time, a lot of effort. Her and her husband both just did a phenomenal job getting her kind of up to speed.
Mm-hmm.
And they have their own dogs, their own resident dogs. And at some point that dynamic shifted. Okay. So I don't know if Fendi got brave enough or, you know, Alpha.
I see this a lot with dogs that come into a home that are same sex and alpha. So I think Fendi at first was so terrified that her alpha energy wasn't there, but I do think she is an alpha dog.
Yeah, she came into it.
Yeah, and then there's another dog in their home who was an alpha female of the household, and I think that there was a bit of a turf war happening there. So they had gotten into a couple scuffles and, you know, called it and said, "Hey, we need to move the dog."
Yeah, and this sounds more traumatic than it actually is.
Yeah,
I mean, this happens. I won't say it happens a lot, but it does happen in rescue. And we have to transfer dogs from one foster home to a better suited foster home. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the foster or the foster home itself. Right. She did everything right. And she was, you know, smart enough to know when to make the call.
Because something could have bad happened if the two, you know, larger dogs had gotten into a fight.
Yep.
So,
then she got transferred to another brand new foster home. Our new favorite people.
Yes, they're wonderful.
Paul and Tam.
Yes. They're a hoot, and they're having a blast. Their resident dog had passed away recently.
2 weeks ago, when I dropped Fendi off, she goes, "Oh, our black lab, I think it was a black lab, just passed away 2 weeks ago." And I said I would never own another dog. And then the next day I said, "Screw that! I'm gonna foster all the dogs." I'm like, "You're my kind of gal."
They're doing amazing. Fendi loves it. There's
a baby in the house.
There's a baby in the house, doing fine. Good with cats. Loves to snuggle on the couch. Jen, the original foster, said she will steal your food. And while we asked her to type up a description about Fendi because we knew we were going to talk about her, and she said, "Well, she just ate a bite of my fajita while I was typing this," which I love. It's hilarious. So a little work to be done there, but listens to commands very well, knows her name, knows when she's being called. In fact, they had to, when they were speaking about her around the other dogs, they had to call her the black dog so that she didn't know that they were talking about her. Because if she heard her name, she would lose her mind, do a backflip, and be like, "Me? Is that me? What am I
Talking about me?
Talking about me?" So she is a hoot. She has this little underbite that her lip catches on her tooth somehow, and it is the cutest little accidental smile that you've ever seen. She's a wonderful dog.
She's been with us for 2 months now.
She came in on 3/4. So
Yeah. Next.
no, and 0 applications on her.
0.
So it's crazy to me. Next is Gumbo. Gumbo came in a litter of 3 dogs who they legitimately told us that they were Patterdale Pit Bull Labradoodles. What? So we thought that's insane. But one of Gumbo's siblings had a DNA test done, and the DNA test shows that it is 22% Jack Russell type terrier, which would be like the Patterdale Terrier, right? Like that's the same lineage of dog. So I can see where that comes from. 16.2% Poodle, 15.2% American Staffy, 15% Lab, 13% Australian Shepherd, 12% American Pit Bull, so the Staffy and the Pit Bull kind of
going on here.
and a little bit of Golden Retriever sprinkled on the top.
Super mutt.
Super mutt, which is what I wrote. Super mutt.
Super mutt.
So the siblings had scruffy hair and had some more coloration to them besides just the jet black. They have since both been adopted, living wonderful lives. And poor Gumbo, she just keeps sitting. And we really waited a long time before, people really waited a long time before they started, applying for her. And the applications have just kind of fallen through. So I don't know what the deal is. She's beautiful.
She's with another pair of our awesome fosters, Tracy and Johnny.
Yes.
And they are used to rocking and rolling with fosters, and they're
like, what the heck? Doing wrong? They're really good at making posts about their dogs, so it's not like we haven't been marketing Gumbo.
No. They've got good content.
She loves their kids, obsessed with children. So if you want a dog that is going to grow up with your kids. She's just a puppy. She's about 8 months old. Well, maybe a little older now.
Well,
we got her in
9-10 months.
Yeah.
Less than a year.
Yes, less than a year. Very trainable. She goes on bike rides with them.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly how that works logistically, but
I don't know either, but I want dash cam.
I know. We need to get a GoPro
video. Yeah.
Send it to Johnny and have him ride his bike with Gumbo. But she does great with the bike rides, great with other dogs. When she first came into their house, they had a couple of 2 very large breed dogs that love to wrestle and play, and that really freaked her out for a second. But now she's fine. She likes everybody.
It's all about adjusting and allowing them to adjust. They got to adjust to foster homes. They got to adjust to a new home too. Forever home too.
And sometimes if a dog comes into your house and they're not a perfect fit at first, you know what that means?
Give them a minute.
They need a little space. Give them a minute. And that's what they gave to Gumbo. And she is an actual gem. Like, she is going to make someone really, really happy if they would ever get it together. And
she's a delight, kind of like Dwight,
who is our 3rd black dog that is in our care right now. Dwight, who was originally, we talked about at the beginning, he was the one that was tied to the tree, 50 million ticks, well, 58, whatever. And
9 months old.
And he's beautiful.
Black lab,
gorgeous. The tiniest little line of white on his chest, itsy bitsy, but otherwise jet black, and big old fat lab head. I mean, he's gorgeous.
Now, he's a protector. Natasha shared with us today
In like the
or
best
last
way.
night.
I don't know.
It's all the same to me.
I think today she sent the story.
That she was sitting outside on her porch last night and Dwight was on point and he saw some deer and they went on. And then a few minutes later, he was on point again and he would not let up. She was trying to talk to him like, hey, it's okay. It's just a deer. And he would not let go.
Yeah.
Turns out there were 3 coyotes in her yard.
Yeah.
And he was locked on to this one who turned out to be like rabbit or something.
I mean, it was not right. It was sick and like not moving and coming
Like,
towards her. And it was
mangy.
like mangy, like bad.
So Dwight did his job.
Yeah. He kept that family safe and let her know she didn't see them.
No.
She had no idea they were right there, right by her porch.
Which is, that's what coyotes do.
Yeah,
They lure these dogs out.
Yeah.
That's what they were trying to do.
What's that cartoon, The Roadrunner? The real coyotes are much more crafty than the coyote with the Roadrunner. I don't even know his Wiley Coyote.
He is available. Is he ready to rock and roll?
Yeah.
Is he
Yeah.
not neuter?
Yeah, he's ready to roll. So
Those are our 3
lab lovers, sign up because Dwight is a catch. He's really beautiful.
Yeah. Which, speaking of Natasha,
Yeah.
she's our fostered feature this episode.
Yes, she is.
Fostered feature.
Feast.
Featured foster. I'm done. I am done. I am signing off. You're on your own.
Oh,
Take it away.
Well, I can, but I'm not going to fully because you got to help me with a couple stories about Natasha. So Natasha, and we call him Doggy Zaddy Nick. Her fiance,
God bless that
longtime
man.
partner. He's got like this like zaddy beard, like I don't know. She doesn't care that I like make comments about him. I don't think.
He is so cool though. I mean, either he's really cool or she's really good at covering up how pissed off he is.
He comes along to pick up the dogs from my driveway. Okay. So yeah, he's super cool.
He's always down
He
for
loves
crazy
dogs.
stuff.
He loves labs as much as Natasha
Yeah.
does. They are crazy lab lovers, which is why Dwight ended up with them. And because of Dwight, we ended up with Reba and then pregnant mama. I can never remember her name. Delilah. All came because they went to go save this lab, and every time we show up for
And
work, we get
that's
free.
how it goes with Natasha. She is a shit show magnet.
Oh my God.
I just it's like it follows her around.
Yeah.
She's a target. If there is a dog that needs help in the 3 surrounding counties, she's gonna get a phone call about it.
Yeah.
I swear.
Yeah, I think she gets the same amount of calls as us, and her number is not listed anywhere. Okay. But yeah, so she made friends with, the gal who had been helping with the stray dogs. We ended up with 3 for 1 situation. And because of that, and because of her love for labs, and for whatever reason, we see a lot of labs. We have a lab.
I'm over it.
Yeah, we have labs.
I'm just gonna be real honest
we're
about
small.
it.
Yeah.
We're going back to small land, tiny land,
We're just taking
toy
a lap.
land. I don't care.
We're taking a lapse in the labs here for a while. My goodness. They're supposed to be like America's dog, and why is everybody giving them up? I don't know. But because of that, and because she is never afraid to say yes, I think maybe a little afraid to say no, but
That's true.
She asks us, and we have to say yes. If
We
she
have to tell her no.
Yeah, we do have to tell her no. We're like, no, Natasha, you're full. But since she filled out the form to become a foster for us on 7/16 of 2023, and so not even a year, she has fostered 26 dogs.
Psychopath level.
Yeah, she's nuts.
That's why we love her.
She's so great.
One time, remember when we had those schnauzers? We got those 13 schnauzers,
Yeah.
and they were feral. They
Oh.
were just insane.
had no idea I had a dog.
And we had a brand new foster up in Box Home. And I remember dropping the dog off to her. I said, do not, under any circumstances, let this dog out of this crate until you get it inside your home. And do not let the dog outside without a harness or a collar and 2 leashes.
Yes.
The dog will run away
And
and,
protect
you will never
your
see it.
barriers, right? Like if you're going to open the door, look what's behind you first, right?
And sure enough, it happened, which it
funny
happens
because
all the time.
when-
that wasn't the only one out of that
No,
group that
when we had
happened with.
Three of those schnauzers ran away. So it was not her fault. It was the schnauzer's
No.
fault for not knowing how to dog.
So for 3 days, I am up in Box Home scouting, and they had this was in the winter, last October, and they had just tilled all the fields up there. So there's all these big clods of black dirt that looked just like a black schnauzer. You know what I mean? So we finally have a sighting. Natasha came up, and she, like you said, she just came on in July. This was October, so I had never really met her. I mean, we've talked, and I knew
been to her house and done all the things,
right.
But yeah.
She shows up in her Jeep Wrangler,
which is purple,
by the way. And we have eyes on this dog, and we are locked on.
Across a whole section of field.
Yeah, and so the dog's running across this field, and, we're chasing it from one highway to another, trying to, get... And I said, Natasha, take that Jeep out in that field and use it what it's meant for.
We're going to off-road in that little purple.
And she was like, okay, 4-wheel drive, and just chases down this dog. And she almost had it. And I have video of her, and she is excellent. She backs up, and she's like got it cut off, and then the dog goes around her, and she's spinning around. And it's the most hilarious thing. And I'm out on the road in my car, like, good luck. So she finally gets it stopped, and it goes under her Jeep. And so I run out there in the field to help her, and the adrenaline is pumping. It's crazy. I'm distracting it while she's going to grab it, and he turns around and just tears into her. Yeah. I mean, blood all the way down her arm. By this time, there is a utility vehicle that has seen the chaos happening and has pulled into this field drive, like,
good old
what is going on here?
There's a lot of looky-loos. Sometimes helpers.
I'm just glad it's not the sheriff, And he's got a first aid kit, and she's getting all bandaged up. And anyway, we finally trapped the dog in a coyote trap in a cemetery at midnight in Boxholm. But
oh my God,
that's Natasha's tale.
Yeah, she's
a trooper,
a wild one, and. We alluded to that we had another member of our PI team, right? So we like to look into people, figure things out, get all the details, FBI it, and she is really.
She has some nice logins though.
Yeah, she has
some access stuff, subscriptions. Seriously,
yeah. So
I love it.
Yeah, she backs up our stories. We're like, we think this might be true. What do you think? And she's like, I'm on it. I've already run their background. But without Natasha, 26 dogs would be still looking for help. She says yes to a lot of dogs that most fosters won't.
Like labs.
Big dogs are harder. I mean, people like to foster and adopt small dogs. It's just a little easier. And she takes in the problem children, and her and Zaddy Nick, they run them. They get
they do go above and beyond as far as fostering goes, which is appreciated, not expected.
Yes,
but they do training with them. Mm-hmm. I mean, legitimate lab training.
Yeah,
they have labs of their own. This is passion there, so they understand how they work and what they're intended to do. So it's always an added bonus when you adopt a dog from Nick and Natasha.
Yeah, it's usually had a little bit of obedience training and lots of love. Mm-hmm. So yeah, thank you, Natasha, for being a part of the Mutt Mafia. We don't know what we'd do without you, and I live for our group chats. I'm usually crying laughing at something that's happening, or saying, no, absolutely not. We're not taking in 26 puppies.
Every time I see her name pop up on my phone, I'm like, oh,
who needs help?
Here we go again. No, I'm teasing. Not really.
No, she's not teasing, but we're always happy to help if we can. So with that, we're going to break it up. In case you forgot, I like bad jokes. And so
That's actually a pretty good one.
This is my favorite, horrible dog joke. I use it in everyday conversation. So if you haven't heard me say it,
you probably heard it.
If you know me, I probably already said it, but I'm going to say it for those that are listening that don't know me day to day. So this family went to a zoo, and they were walking all around, and they wanted to see all the different kinds of animals, but they just kept walking by empty cage, empty cage, empty cage. And only one animal was in the zoo, and it was just one dog. And it was a Shih Tzu.
That's so bad. That was so bad.
All right, so thanks for bearing with my bad dog joke. And we're going to wrap up this episode with, we asked you guys to write in and tell your stories about your heart dogs. Gonzo's mom wrote in and we wrapped that into our story, which I'm so thankful she did that so we could have an update on him. But as we talked about last time, I like to spend a small amount of time per week at Paws and Pints. Small
amount of time. A little bigger tab.
Yeah, they like me there because I stay long enough that my tip is good. But so I hang out at Paws and Pints, and I've gotten to know many of the staff there. And one of those staff
Who's my favorite guy? The recess guy.
Oh yeah, Max.
Max.
So Max, let's talk about Max really quick.
I really like him.
If you've never been to Paws and Pints and you happen to go, there is someone in the dog park who will be there. He's there every single day. And he is kind of the head, I don't know what they call them, dog monitor? Dog monitor.
I don't know.
Recess monitor.
Rock star?
He's magic. He could be across the dog park and one dog could say to another dog, I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to mess you up. And he'll hear it. It'll be like a low guttural growl. And you'll see Max perk up, crank his head, and sprint. And he will have those dogs broken up from any sort of argument or tiff or whatever before it even happens.
And he's so chill about it, too.
Yeah. And then he just walks away like he didn't just save a life, like...
Love him.
Amazing. He's really fun to watch. So if you just go there like to look at the dogs, you're going to have the perk of getting to watch Max in his element doing amazing things.
You do a great job, Max. We appreciate you.
We do. So Max's coworker, Katie, she works in daycare with my daughter and then also
doggy daycare.
Doggy daycare. Must be said. They're called bark keepers. We went to get Cam's bank account opened up for when she started her job, and they have to say what your job is. They're like, okay, what do you do? Like, what's your job title? And Cam was like, we're sitting in the Wells Fargo, and she's like, bark keeper. And the guy was like, what?
That's a new one.
Yeah. So Katie is a bark keeper. She also is a bartender. So she feeds me drinks, takes care of the dogs, does all the things. And she wrote in about her heart dog, Tegan. Tegan, I'll give my little what I know about sweet Tegan boy first, and then I'll read what she has to say about how she got him. And this is a testament to someone who has adopted a dog that had all of the odds stacked against him and has stuck with it. What she has done for him is absolutely incredible. I've watched it as his confidence has grown and as he continues to become an even better and happier and more balanced dog. I still have not petted him because he's not ready for me to pet him yet. But he likes to come by me and he's, getting more used to me. And
give you a glance.
He gives me a little side eye from time to time and it makes my day. But we're going to be friends sometime. But Tegan is always he's a black dog.
I love that name, by the way. Tegan.
Yeah, it's great. And she's got a little Tilly too, which is a little schnauzer. But Tegan is a black dog, a black pit bull. Who has a blaze of white, and she'll color the white, like colors for like the seasons and stuff. It's super cute.
Love that.
So she says, Tegan, adopted from the ARL. She works at Paws and Pints. So of course she shouts me out because she knows I know who she is. And then they had groups of dogs for a while that were being housed at Paws and Pints when they first opened because they had these empty kennels. So they were doing overflow care for the ARL. They are not doing that, and I think a lot of it is because of the liability anymore. But so there was trucks of dogs that after they were stopping doing that were kind of shipped out. And so he was on the first truck, literally a truck of kennels on top of kennels that were brought in. She said it was heartbreaking to see, and he was very barrier reactive, super high anxiety, did not like strangers, especially men. He was at the Paws and Pints boarding for 3.5 to 4 months, and he went out on the last truck. So that means he sat there and was not adopted that whole time. Looked past, no applications,
I couldn't
nothing.
do it.
And the day after he left on the truck that went back out, which we don't know, where they were going to. Were they going back,
Right.
sometimes
The ARL is not a no-kill shelter.
right, the ARL is not a no-kill shelter. So if there's a dog, especially a black dog that's been sitting there for a long time and they need to make space, I know they try not to, and their stats are actually quite good for as large of a shelter as they are, but they do sometimes euthanize dogs, so you never know what was going to happen with him when he went back. But he was in the last truck that went out, and she adopted him the next day after he left. She was getting ready to move in with a friend who had already adopted his very best friend when they were living at Paws and Pints. So they call them the dogs the husbands because they're two best friend dogs. He was also adopted from the ARL, so they came in together on one of those trucks. She called and said, "You got to go adopt this dog." And she said, "Oh, I'll think about it." But really, when she got that text, she was already on her way to go pick him up. And then she sweet talked her way into not having to do any special meet and greets or everything. She said, "I know him. I've been spending 4 months with him at daycare, at work. I know him well, and he's about to move in with his doggy best friend. Things are going to be great." So then she rolls up to Paws and Pints, walks through the door, and Tegan sees his very best friend, Rudy, and Rudy's mom. There was a lot of tears, doggy kisses, hugs. They reunited forever, and now they get to live together. She's had him now for 8 months. He is still very nervous, so I give him his space. Everybody does a really good job of respecting his boundaries there. He's not a fan of men, but he likes Max.
Well, who doesn't,
yeah,
right?
He likes Max and several of the other male employees that he's gotten used to. He is on anxiety meds. Some dogs just need to be, much like humans, on some type of meds, right? Keeps us going. And she has since fallen in love with rescuing, and she's been a really big supporter of ours and sharing all of our things. And, listened to the last podcast right away, of course, and she wrote in as we asked at the end of the episode, which means she listened to that whole darn thing. Love that. She says, "I am his protector and spokesperson. He gets better every day, and even after 8 months, we are still learning his triggers and when he is ready to be done with his socializing journey." That's it.
That's me.
Yeah.
I just need to learn when I'm ready to be done socializing.
Yeah. I'm still learning when you're ready to be done socializing. I'm like, "You don't want to talk to me right now? Okay, fine." But she has done amazing things with Tegan. She is young.
Awesome
Yeah,
job.
she's young and she gets it. She is a wonderful pet owner, and I am proud to say that she adopted a black dog from the shelter. She picked him out, and he's living a really great life now. So,
love that.
Yeah. So
thank you, Katie, for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Can you imagine them seeing each other again? Like,
I can't.
I thought I wasn't ever going to see you again.
Oh my God, it's my best friend.
I'm my best friend.
Yeah. I'm a real bad dog. So yeah, that's it. That's our episode. We are going to start doing what we are going to call
toy episodes.
Yes, because as we love our little toy dogs, they are small, and put them in a little package. We're going to package up a small episode of an educational every other between our full length episodes.
Right. Not to be confused as an episode on toys.
No. Yeah.
I get weird.
Yeah.
It is an educational bite-sized episode. It's about 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
Give or take a few minutes.
Yeah.
And next week we will be releasing an episode on dentals with Dr. Deborah Stoner. She is a vet at University West and Starch Pet Clinic in Des Moines and Clive.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to talk to us all about dentals and why they're important and when to get one and how to administer dental care to your dogs.
Yes, the doggy dentist expert. So we're excited to share that with you.
No flossing required.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
You don't have to floss your dog, which is great. Yeah.
I would like to see that though, honestly.
I'm going to get one of those little pics and just try it.
Let me know how that goes.
Yeah.
Take video. Have Marcus take video.
Oh, man. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with us.
We're having a great time. We hope
are.
you guys are. Let us know that you're listening.
Yes. And
Anybody,
write in about your
somebody,
heart
anybody.
dogs. And remember, when life puts you in a situation you're not sure what to do,
Adopt a black dog.
and figure it out.
Oh, sorry. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Bye.
Bye. We'll figure
Figure it out.
Oh my dog.
What I mean when I see what I feel, when I dream, when I be, I'm a freak. what up? What up? Everybody look at me when I'm free, wanna feel what I see, wanna do it, I'm a freak. What up? What up? Say what we got, it's hot to spot, give up the drop, see what we got, do what? We got to go, the body flow, too hot to show, the front row, we won't stop.